Good morning, preschoolers. Today I thought I would like to share something a little bit different with you guys. We're going to read a book together, but before we do that, I just wanted to talk to you about my favorite books, all of my favorite books from when I was a little kid. Because I thought today what we're going to do is read our book and then we're going to do a book review. And you guys will have a chance to show me your book reviews on Seesaw. So this book right here is called Little Black, a Pony. It's by Walter Farley. He wrote The Black Stallion, which is a book that your parents might know about. And this is a very old book. I actually had to buy this book again because my copy was ruined. But it's all about a little pony. I'm not going to read this whole book to you, but it's about a little pony. He's too little. And his boy falls in love with a big, fast, fancy horse, and Little Black can't do the things that the big horse can do. But then, at the end, Little Black is going to be able to save the boy because the big horse is too big. And it's really a story about friendship and a story about valuing someone, even if they're not as big or as strong or as fancy as someone else. This book is one of my favorites. I've loved it since I was your age. And there's a sad part in the middle. It's so sad that even now Declan has to read it to me because I get teared up every time I read this one. But that's one of my favorites. You guys know about this one because I've showed it to you at school before. This book is so old. Look, it's falling apart. This was my dad's copy when he was little. And this is about Crictor, the cool snake. He gets sent. He gets sent in the mail. We're going to read that one today, so I'll put that aside for a second. This book was one of my all-time favorites. Look at, oh my gosh, it's in such bad shape. The binding is gone. And but this was mine when I was your age, and it's The Rescuers. And my mom used to read it to me at night. This was the one I picked every night for bed. It's a long one too. Look at all those words. Oh my goodness. But it's a story of two little mice who join up with some other cool animals, and they save this little girl Penny from Medusa and Tubbs. And when I was little, my mom would read this to me she had all different voices. She had a fancy voice for I think her name's Bianca, and this guy's name, I can't remember, Bianca and Bernard. And then Ellie Mae had like a fun country voice, and Medusa had an evil, mean voice. But anyhow, that was one of my favorites, The Rescuers. It's a book all about adventure and fun and saving this little girl. And along the way, Bianca and Bernard realized that even though they're very, very different, she's very, very fancy and he's very, very simple, that they can become good friends because even though they're different, they have a lot of things in common. Like they're both good people and they both care about their friends. This book, this is a big book. This is a chapter book. This is called The Secret Garden. This is one of my all-time favorite books. Even as a grown-up, I still like to read this book. And it's about this little girl, Mary. And Mary has quite a miserable life. She's not a very pleasant girl. Nobody really likes her. She's mean and demanding. She doesn't listen to directions. She's rude to grown-ups. And no one really likes Mary very much. And Mary has to move all the way halfway around the world to go live with an uncle who she doesn't know and she's not excited about. And somewhere along the way, Mary finds this secret garden. It's a locked away garden, and she starts working on the garden with the help of a boy who lives nearby. And she meets her cousin who's sick, and together the three of them bring this garden back to life. But something very cool happens to the three children while they're working in the garden. And I don't want to give away all the secrets in case you decide that you want to read this book, but it's a very cool story about how people and things can change. And so if you ever are looking for a big chapter book, you would just read a few pages each night. It would take you quite a long time to read this one, but that's one of my favorites. When I was in 4th grade, I wrote my first book report on that book. And this is the last one that I want to show you today. This is called Charlotte's Web. And it's, of course, about a pig and about this little girl named Fern. And this right here is Charlotte. And she's a spider who can do amazing things. And this is a great, great book about friendship. And even though it's a really big book, the words in here are printed a little bit larger. So this is a good chapter book to start off with. In fact, Declan's class is reading this together on Zoom right now. Their teacher reads one chapter every night and puts it up. But this is a great book about friendship and about caring for one another. And it's a really, really fun, cool book. So if you're looking for a great chapter book, I recommend Charlotte's Web. All right. So those are my book reviews, right? I recommend all of these books, but this book is a fun one. We're going to read this together right now. This is called Crictor, and the story and pictures are by Tomi Ungerer. And this is an old book, 1958. All right. And the pictures are in black and white and green. Once upon a time, in a little French town, lived an old lady whose name was Madame Louise Bedeau. She had one son who was in Africa studying reptiles. One morning, the mailman brought her a peculiar O-shaped box. Madame Bedeau screamed when she opened it. It was a snake her son had sent her for her birthday. I love her expression there. Ah! To make sure it was not a poisonous snake, she went to the zoo. She identified it as a boa constrictor. So she called her animal Crictor. Madame Bedeau mothered her new pet, feeding it bottles of milk. She bought palm trees so Crictor would feel really at home. And as dogs do when they are happy, he wagged his tail. See him wagging it there? Well-fed, Crictor grew longer and longer and stronger and stronger. The boa followed his mistress when she went shopping. Everyone was astonished. Madame Bedeau knitted a long woolen sweater for her pet to wear on cold days. Crictor also had a warm, comfortable bed. There he would dream happily under his palm trees. In the winter, it was fun for Crictor to wriggle in the snow. Madame Bedeau taught at the public school. One day, she decided to take Crictor to her classes. Can you imagine that? A snake in your class? Soon, Crictor learned to shape the alphabet in his own way. S as in snake, E as in elephant, N as in nothing, O as in oak, L as in lion, M as in man, G as in glass, and W as in whale. He could count 2, forming figures. 2 for 2 hands, 3 for 3 little pigs, 4 for the 4 legs of a dog, 5 for 5 fingers, 6 for the 6 legs of a bug, 7 for the 7 dwarves, and 8 for the 8 arms of an octopus. The boa liked to play with the little boys and with the little girls. He helped the Boy Scouts learn knots. Crictor was a helpful snake. One day, it's delicate back here. One day in a sidewalk cafe, Madame Bedeau heard from a friend at the next table that there had been a series of thefts in the town. That very night, the burglar broke into her apartment. Madame Badeau was already gagged and tied to a chair when the faithful Boa awoke and furiously attacked the burglar. The villain's terrified shrieks awoke the neighbors. Crictor remained coiled around him until the police arrived. Whoops. My book is so old, the glue that holds the pages together is coming apart. I'm going to have to tape it up later. For his bravery, a nice medal was awarded to the heroic snake. Crictor even inspired the local sculptor to make a statue in his honor. And the city dedicated a park to him. Loved and respected by the entire village, Crictor lived a long and happy life. The end. I love this story because it shows, again, a woman who's very, very proper and fancy. She lives in a little apartment and she teaches her students, and she gets this kind of wild and exotic pet, and together they become friends, even though they're from two different worlds, two very different kinds of people, and they become friends. And I love seeing all the different things that Crictor can do. This was one of my favorites when I was a kid. You know what else I love about this book, Crictor, is that it has some really cool words like peculiar, astonished, inspired. I like the vocabulary words in here. There's some really nice words. So what I want you guys to do today is to look around your homes, or you can go online if you don't have a copy of the books that you're thinking of at home, and tell me, what are your favorite books? What books do you love to read? Why do you love them? What makes this book really, really special? Is it a funny book? Is it a sad book? Is it a book about friendship? Is it a book about your favorite subject like Star Wars or Legos or Ninjagos? Is it a book that your mom and dad read to you every day? Is it a book that you can read all by yourself? Because that could make it a favorite book too. So I can't wait. I can't wait to hear your book reviews. You can do a video on Seesaw and send it to me, or you can write it down, draw me pictures, whatever you want to do, and tell me all about your favorite books. All right, see you guys soon. Bye.